Hi, I'm Emily Taylor from Collage Quilter. Today I'm going to teach you how to do mitered borders. Okay, so I have this adorable little quilt block and I'm going to make this into a pillow. So I really like, precise little details like this. So you can see here is the finished mitered border on this project. Here it is in progress, and then you can see the bottom. I'm going to demonstrate how to get this perfect mitered corner. So as I said, this is almost there. It's been stitched, but I still have those little tails hanging out. So what I want to show you is I want to talk about the stitch line and how to get this perfect miter. One of the hints that you'll be doing is folding your quilt or your block in half, and the stitch line will just be an extension of that folded angle. So that's one test that you know your mitered corner is going to come out exactly the way it should. So you can see that there. So now I know that that's ready, so I can go ahead and trim off those tails and just leave a little bit of maybe a 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch from the edge. So for this little project, it's really helpful obviously to have a rotary cutter. It's great to have a ruler that has the 45-degree angle on it, as well as a cutting mat that has the 45-degree angle on it. So I'm just going to slice through that. And now I've got that, and it's ready to press. So there we go. And then the other thing I'll want to do is probably open up that seam and press it. But for now, I'm going to tell you how to attach that bottom part, because I've done the 3 sides and now I'm ready to do my final side of this mitered project. Now, because this is just a small project, I didn't measure it. All I did was kind of eyeball to make sure that my border strips of fabric extend beyond the block and beyond the border that it's on. So you need to have that extra little bit of fabric on this. Now, the other thing that I want to point out is I will be applying the border to each side, but I want to make sure that I fold the previous border out of the way. So you can kind of see the way I've done that right there. This is just what I do is I finish my stitching. So here it is, it's stitched along this edge, right sides together, right? So I'm applying the border just like I normally would, right sides together, stitching along that seam line. But I'm going to make sure that I end my stitching about 1/4, even 3/8 of an inch from the raw edge of the border or of the quilt block. So really it's very helpful to stitch, to either mark it with a marking pen or stitch on this side so that you can see when the end is coming, because you want to finish your stitch line before you get to the end. Okay, and then what you'll do is just fold that back out of the way. I'm just folding it up and pinning it so that it's out of the way, so that I can add the final border. So I'm going to do that to both of these. I'm just folding them over, and I'm going to pin them out of the way so they're not in the way. So that's how it looks, because these need to be out of the way so that I can apply this final strip of border. So I'm going to make sure that I'm eyeballing it. Another thing you could do is fold this in half and mark the center and make sure that you're getting it right in the center. But I am just eyeballing it this time. And I'm going to pin the raw edges to each other, right sides together. And now I'm going to take a marking pencil, and I can again either finish it right here, or if I've got it pinned like this, I'm just going to mark it so that I know I am about 1/4 inch. I'm stopping my stitch line in time. Okay, so I've got that one marked, and I've got this one marked as well. So now this is ready to be sewn along the edge, and I'm going to stop my stitching before the end of the raw edge of the block. So I'll see you over at the sewing machine. All right, so here we are at the sewing machine. I've just put a pin where I need to begin my stitching. I don't want to start anything up here. I want this to be open. So I'm just going to slide this under my foot, put my foot down, and it will give me a little bit of wiggle room. And now I'm going to pull my pin out so that I don't break my needle. And I'm just going to stitch along this edge here. Now you can see I've also marked it with a pin where to stop stitching. And it's okay if I even end it a little bit beforehand. I'm going to do a back stitch and cut my thread and pull it out. All right, so now what I'm going to do, you can see that I made room for these. Now I just need to join these together. And the way to do that is to fold my quilt on top of each other, or my block. Just kind of finger press that. So that I know we've got this perfect little angle. And if I am unsure at all, I will grab my ruler just to confirm that I've got this. So what I've done again is just fold this square into, I folded adjacent edges together. And so the stitch line, remember what I said, it's going to follow this angle. It's going to just go just like that. So I'm going to make sure this is laying really flat, and I'm going to grab my ruler and my marking pencil and mark that, and then I'll stitch that. All right, so I have my ruler here. I've got it lined up with this edge, and I can also see that the 45-degree angle is perfectly parallel to the edge of the fabric. So this is exactly where I need to do my stitch line. So I'm just going to draw that 45 degrees with my marking pencil, take some pins, and just make sure these stay together. So everything is secure and nothing is slipping, so it stays really nice and tidy. 2 or 3 pins ought to do it. Then I'm going to put this under my machine again and make sure that, okay, so now I've got my stitch line right there. Now I can take these pins out and confirm that that mitered edge is perfectly in line. Look at that, ta-da, it sure is. So I will finish this other edge right here. Let's see, where is it? Down here. I need to do the same thing right here, and then I will go over and press and cut everything, and we'll see you back at the cutting board in just a minute. All right, so here is the border that has mitered corners. You can see I've just finished this here, and what I will do now is just take my rotary cutter again, like I showed you earlier, and leave about a 1/2 inch, which is a really easy width to be able to open the seam. And then I will have one more little tail that needs to come off to trim off. And then this is ready to press. And doesn't that look just so beautiful? I love a mitered border. It's just one of those finishes that looks really, really nice. So there you go, mitered borders for a quilt block, like this little quilt block that's going to be a pillow. And look for the upcoming videos about quilting this project and then creating the pillow. So I will see you soon. You can always find me at collagequilter.com.